stars be with you.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Energetic Principles Report for the Sun moving into Cancer, also known as the Summer Solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. And in the Southern Hemisphere, it is known as the Winter Solstice, which is hard to really wrap your mind around if you live in either place. So I am doing this video to welcome us into this season, which is my personal season. I am a Cancer, so I'm more than excited that the sun has now moved into my own watery territory, and I look forward to the next 30 days. So what is the solstice? Why is this such a special time of year? Well, the solstices, as well as the equinoxes, is actually what sets up our tropical system of the zodiac. So these are big pivotal turning points of the year when the sun moves into either Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn. And so now we are in the sign of the crab, and that solstice will be taking place on Tuesday, June 20th, at 9:24 p.m. Pacific time. So that could be Wednesday for any of you viewers that are over across the pond or in other places of the world. So when the solstice comes to us, the solstice is basically, whether it's the summer or the winter, it's the time of the longest day or the shortest day of the year. So with the summer solstice, we have the longest day, where the sun has its longest time to shine. It sets very late in the evening, and we really feel that summer. You know, it's the first day of summer. We're feeling that summer energy rush in with all that daylight and that solar energy. So with the solstice happening, and why it's so special is, if you break it down in Latin, it is about solstitium, which is stopped, like stopped sun. So when we have these equinoxes, it means that the sun is kind of stationary for a little bit, and it's going to hang out in its position long enough so that we feel the shortest days of the year for the winter solstice, or the longest days of the year for the summer solstice. So there's a stopping of sense. We stop for a moment so that we can gather ourselves for these major turning points in life. And a lot of times solstices throughout the years and centuries have been marked with celebration. So this coming next how many days that we're ushering in the solstice would be a great time to find a reason to celebrate. So that being said, what does that have to do with Cancer? You know, Cancer is the cardinal energy for water. It's a very emotional, if not the epitome of emotional sign. Cardinal is active energy. It pushes forward. It goes out in short bursts. It has a leadership quality to it. So Cancer being that cardinal energy that we're now moving into, the sun and its solar awareness is going to focus on our emotional foundation, and how strong that is. You know, how strong is the foundation that we base our everyday life on, you know, because if you're living from emotional principles that are no longer relevant to your current situation, that foundation can be a little shaky. So when the sun moves into Cancer, this is a time where, depending on what area of our life needs a kind of rework in the foundational sense, that's where the sun shines the light. And the sun is there not by itself, but Mercury's right on its coattails. Mars is there. You know, we have a big party going in Cancer. So the feels are up. We are emotional and we are feeling it. So with that sun in Cancer, we're going to not only be working on our emotional foundation, but the things that are kind of derived from that, like our childhood and our past experiences. Because a lot of times we have emotional residue that is just sitting underneath the layer, you know, that subconscious, unconscious self is just kind of rooted at the bottom. And then when it gets all stirred up, that's when we feel those emotions and we're like, oh, I thought I was over this, or this again, or we play unconscious patterns that we don't even realize it's this again. It's not even in our awareness. So this time we're going to be like really going into like reminiscence and our past selves and what we our sentimentality and what we hold dear in life, which is fine, just as long as you're able to let those things go and work in the here and now, because it's nice to reminisce as long as those memories are pleasant. But if those memories are not so pleasant, then it can be emotionally trying on yourself to constantly relive past hurts or experiences that are emotionally rooted in yourself that really need to be let go. So speaking of let go, we have a lot of challenge that's happening during this Cancer cycle. And that challenge is going to be coming from Pluto in Capricorn, which will be opposing the Sun sometime during this cycle, and also Jupiter in Libra, who will be squaring the Sun. So there's going to be a T-square action that's building up for most of this Cancer season, to where we're going to be able to renew and break down certain areas of ourselves so that we can see growth and expansion and some types of turning point in another area. So just know in these first couple days as Cancer gets going, the first degrees of any sign, we start to, it's an immature energy and we haven't really integrated it yet. So if you feel those emotions coming up, especially since we're going to have a new moon in Cancer, which I'll talk about in just a second, just know that they're bubbling up for a reason and we're supposed to pay attention to them. Like, don't let them go overboard. Don't think your life is in a despair because all these things are being drudged up. This is the perfect time to really look at those and understand them, because the Sun is there. The Sun is shining the light on these emotional issues that we all have. No one is immune. Some area in your life, you are emotionally charged. And for some of us, it's in a lot of areas of life. So just know that this could be a little bit of moody time where we're really trying to get our bearings around this emotional energy. Because yeah, I'm a Cancer. I navigate the waters remotely well. It is my test in life to be able to get better and better at that with the Sun being there. But for other signs, especially fire and air, the water energy might be a little foreign to you. And when those emotions come up, you might want to not ignore them or push them back down or what have you. So just know it's not an energy that everyone can deal with very well. Like, not everyone is equipped to be like, okay, I'm going to get these emotions down. I'm going to let them rise above. Some people might just be, fuck, what am I doing? What is going on? Why do I feel this way? I feel horrible, or I feel uncertain. I'm worrying about all these things. Cancer loves to worry. Doesn't love to worry. It just kind of ends up worrying about certain things. So just know that, it's okay to feel this out right now. Just take some time with yourself, because Cancer is all about self-nurturing. So nurture the self at this time so that we can get through these challenges of where we might be emotionally stale in our lives. And that's really what the summer solstice ushers in. It's a time where we're redoing our watery foundation, our emotional foundation. So I welcome the solstice and am ready to embrace this Cancer season. All right, so let's talk about that new moon that's going to be happening right after the summer solstice. So what better way to kick off that Cancer season than an immediate new moon? Because that is the time of intense manifestation and us really getting, because the new moon is a quiet time where we go in and we can take a moment to decide what is really worthy of our undertaking in that darkness of the moon before it goes into its little crescent shimmer of light, where we start to actively go forward with these insights that we have during the new moon. So with it being at Cancer, and it's at 2 degrees Cancer, which is interesting because with Techie's system, 2 degrees is the degree of Cancer in feeling. So this is going to be what I like to call the mooniest of moons. You're gonna feel it. It is where, Cancer rules the moon. So this is the most powerful new moon in my eyes that we can have. Especially since it centers around our emotional foundation, and how we navigate the waters of life really rely on how secure we are emotionally. And So just real quick, let me tell you that that new moon is going to be happening on Friday, June 23rd at 7:31 p.m. Pacific time. So just a few days after that solstice, we're going to be ushered in with this rebirth of the Cancer energy. And so to go back to what I was saying about Cancer and navigating those watery depths, this new moon is really getting us in touch with where we need an emotional fresh start of sorts, you know, where we need more security and more safe zones in our life. You know, where do we feel solid and secure emotionally, and how can we embrace that so that we're building this foundation stronger and stronger and stronger, because we all rely on our inner foundation, whether or not we realize it or not. So if that foundation is a little bit, you know, just not up to code, then we're going to have to rebuild that at this time, and get on a more solid footing emotionally, so that we can carry on with what it is we're here to do. So that new moon in Cancer is going to be really highlighting areas of security and insecurity. Because a lot of times when our emotions surface up, it has to do with where we're not feeling very stable in life, you know, like you might feel like you're not good enough at something, or you might feel like this person feels such way about you, and that makes you feel this, or you're not able to assert yourself, you know, because sometimes, especially with Mars and Cancer right now, like there's a passive aggressive nature, and there's not that full assertion. It's the energy's there, but it kind of broods. So just know that during this new moon, we're going to really be getting in touch with how we can gain a more secure foundation and just an emotional fresh start to how we view certain areas of our lives, which will go into the horoscopes, because depending on what your sign and your rising sign is kind of where you're going to get that emotional fresh start. So yeah, I'm excited about this new moon. I mean, obviously I'm a Cancer, so I'm ready to, you know, shed that skin, start fresh, and get that energy out here and just rebuild my own foundation. And so I'm hoping that all of you will be doing that too. Because during this new moon, we're going to have Mercury is right there. So our thoughts, our perceptions, and our emotions are going to be on the same page. Although Mercury in Cancer can be pretty subjective. So just know that it's probably going to be leaning more on the side of emotions. Your mind's going to be a little more emotional at this time. But that's okay, because if we're trying to get in touch with those emotions, hopefully Mercury there will shed a little light. We'll also have Mars in Cancer that is about to square Pluto. And, is about to square Jupiter in Libra. It will oppose Pluto eventually, but we'll save that for the full moon. So that Mars squaring Jupiter in Libra is really calling us to kind of, you know, it's a turning point of sorts. It's calling us for us to take a stand, you know, emotionally in some area of our life, and to get more balance and fairness, and to be our own advocate of sorts. Because sometimes you have to speak up for yourself, and you can't brood emotionally inside. You know, you have to speak up for yourself. You have to relate well and communicate well with others, so you can get what it is you need, and be a little more forthright in that area. So just know that the Cancer season is a sensitive season. It's a very sensitive sign. We're forced to push forward, but at the same time, we have all these insecurities and emotions and fears of sorts that might be holding us back. And especially it could have to do with the past, and where we're still clinging on to old things that no longer serve us. And it's time to let go, because I like to look at it as like the little crab that's holding, you know, itself in the water. It's clinging to the rock, and it's getting pounded by the waves. But if it just lets go, it's going to go with the flow, and it's going to be carried to a new and better place. So just know at this time, when those emotions come up, we're probably going to be asked to release them, so that we can build that foundation stronger. And that's really what I see for this new moon in Cancer, and how we can really use it to its best ability. Okay, so let's talk about the new moon Sabian symbol and what Dane Rudyard says about this degree. So as I've said before with Sabian symbols, if there is a degree, like it's 2 degrees and some change, we're going to round up and we're going to have 3 degrees Cancer. And what Rudyard says for 3 degrees Cancer, he paints this picture. A man bundled in fur leads a shaggy deer. Okay. So a man bundled in fur leads a shaggy deer. Well, that keynote is really around needing to overcome some sort of stagnation in our lives. And when we have to go through a trial of endurance, we might have to go through the cold at first to where we're not really supported, or we're not supporting ourselves, and there's a little iciness there, which is interesting because the opposite side of Cancer is Capricorn. And sometimes Capricorn can get the cold vibe, or like people think they're a little, insensitive, or they're cold to other people's needs and wants and what have you. So I like how he's kind of playing on that polarity. But ultimately, it's a testing of will. And Cancer is actually represented by the Chariot in tarot cards, which has to do with will. And sometimes when you're leading a new path into a new region that seems cold and unfamiliar, you kind of have to just bulk up from that harsh circumstance. You're gonna, like the man with the coat, and then the deer's all, he's all covered up. And it's really just insulating yourself from harsh circumstances. Because keep in mind, Cancer is incredibly sensitive, and any slight that a Cancer might endure from another person, even if they don't mean it, or are intending it to be that way, it can really take a crab down. Like we have very strong imaginations, and we're able to see slight in a way that is kind of, it's harmful in the end if we can't really look at it, because it's a subjective energy. We're not objectively looking at it like, well, he said this, but it's probably this. No, he said this, and oh my God, it's got to be this. So just know that Cancers, why we have the crab, we have the shell. We need that hard exterior for that soft underbelly. And so what I think that this Sabian symbol really kind of relates to is us getting, putting on our hard shell and being able to, shield ourselves from life's certain blows that it might deal, especially if you're starting down a new path and you have to figure out all these obstacles and kind of break down ways of yourself that are no longer working, and you're just feeling it through. There's an uncertainty there. You're not, quite making, it's not just a straight path to success. So you have all these tests. So right now we're just really building our hard shell and our exterior and covering ourselves enough so that we can get through this period of cold that may be happening, especially with that Pluto opposition in Capricorn that we're going to go through later this month. So strap on that crab shell and get ready to grow a thicker skin this season, because really our sensitivity and our ability to persevere based on not living solely in the sensitivity is really what's being challenged and highlighted. So just know that we're all going through the cold right now, and we're all going to need that thicker skin. And luckily we have that shaggy deer with us to guide the way. Okay, so for the horoscopes for this month, we're going to be looking at where you're going to have an emotional fresh start of sense. Where are we going to be developing emotional security in our lives during this Cancer season? Because it really has to do with the polarity going on in that Pluto transit in Capricorn, and then with that square to Jupiter in Libra, where we're going to have a turning point based on really what's fair in life. So we have this T-square energy going on, and I think that that's really going to set the pace and the momentum for this Cancer season. So just know we're like breaking down issues that no longer work for us and having a fresh new emotional start. And so I'll go down for each sign to see where that lies for you. So let's get started. All right, Aries, and Aries rising. Where are you going to get an emotional fresh start this Cancer season? Well, the Aries are going to be working on emotions surrounding your home and foundation, and discarding what emotional residue you might still have from your childhood. You're going to be really working on that foundation just as much as Cancers are, and it's going to allow you to renew yourself in your sense of balance with your career and your public reputation and pretty much what you're going for in life, because you're going to need that strong foundation in order to put yourself out there into the greater world and be able to do that securely. So in turn, you're going to see a turning point in your partnerships and how you relate to others by getting this new emotional foundation, and really analyzing and getting your mind around like what it is you have to change around your career and reputation. You're in turn relating to people better now, and you're able to see a turning point and growth in that area. All right, Taurus and Taurus rising, what do you have in store for this Cancer season? Well, you're going to be working on emotions surrounding how you communicate in your mind's own inner workings, which is going to renew your sense of balance in seeing the bigger picture and having a better perspective. He's gaining a bigger perspective over things. Your mind has been maybe in a limited viewpoint of how you see and think about things, and so now you're really going to be opening up that perspective, which in turn is going to lead you to a new daily routine and a new work life, and just your day-to-day existence is going to have some type of turning point in it now that you're able to see that bigger picture, and your mind is gotten rid of its emotional residue of sorts, because you are an emotional thinker. That's, you have Cancer ruling the third of your solar chart, or your natal, depending if that's your rising. So you tend to have subjective thoughts. So just know that this is a time to let that go and start to see a bigger picture and to rework your mind and how emotions may play havoc on that. And so then daily life is just going to be that much better now that you're working on a more solid foundation in your own mind and emotions. All right, Gemini and Gemini rising. What does this Cancer season have in store? Well, you're going to be working on emotions surrounding how you value yourself and your own self-worth and your talents, and how you gain financial abundance in life. These are going to be issues during this Cancer season, and you're already emotional around those issues in your life. So that said, you're going to have a renewed sense of balance in creating appropriate boundaries and drawing emotional lines, because that's really what that Pluto and Capricorn is going to be challenging you, is where you draw the line. Where do you let enough in, and where do you need to maybe open that line up so that you can gain more? Your boundaries are kind of holding you back, in a sense. So you really just have to get in touch with, when to say no to others and when to say yes, like when to open up and like receive more in your life, which is going to really turn into your turning point with Jupiter in Libra, is going to be how do you connect to your own heart and your own self-joy. So really getting in touch with your self-worth, what you have to offer, your talents, and how you want to get abundance in this life, is going to allow you to draw the right boundaries in the right areas to pull back, open up, and in turn you're going to find a greater joy. You're just going to feel happy, and who doesn't want that, especially if any of this has to do with how you relate to partnerships. That could be a very rewarding boost in your love life. If all this work's done, you might have to get more confidence in yourself in order to open yourself up and to receive more from others, and then in turn you can share that love. All right, Cancer and Cancer rising. For us Cancer suns, hey, it's our birthday! I'm so happy. I don't know about you, but I'm very ready for this birthday season. And for all you Cancer risings, the sun's going to be moving through your first house, and that is definitely a rebirth of sorts. You're starting your whole solar cycle over, and it's a very empowering time. So that being said, this Cancer season, we're going to be working on our emotions and how we take charge in our life and how we freely express ourselves, and we're able to get ourselves out there and like make moves on our own accord. And in turn, that's going to renew our sense of how we balance and interact with other people, how our relationships work. Are they fair? Are they balanced? Not Fox News, but are they fair? Are they, are you giving too much? Are you allowing others to give back to you? So there's going to be a renewal and a breaking down of such in that area of how we relate with others, and really stepping into our own selves and going after what it is we want. And in turn, we're going to see a turning point actually in our home and our foundation and our family and the very stability that we ground ourselves on. And that is, that's Cancer territory. Regardless, it's in the 4th house, but it's a different type of Cancer territory that we're going to be working on in the area of Libra. So this is going to be a very empowering time for the Cancer, to where we can finally kind of like, get in. All of those planets are there. We're really feeling that watery energy, and we're able to really kind of take charge at this time, and get a lot of areas in our life, such as, home, family, foundation, our partnerships, and just our own relationship to ourselves is going to become much, much more stronger, especially emotionally. All right, Leo and Leo rising. Almost your birthday period, but that being said, when we get close, about a month out, this is when we go through the weeding of the soul garden, in a sense. So a little darker territory of the unconscious. So right before your birthday, and that even if you're a Leo rising, right before that Sun conjuncts your 1st house, we kind of go through this darkening, the dark before the light. So that being said, during this Cancer season, you're going to be working on emotions surrounding your ability to keep the faith around things, and to trust that even though you may have been going through some uncertainty, or there may be pitfalls in your life, or things might have fallen apart, or you had to let go of certain things, that just know that this is part of the bigger balance of something, of life, and that you just have to have faith in the situation, that even though that might not have worked, that something better for you is down the road. So you're going to be reading out those emotional barriers, in a sense, of what keeps you from having faith in your own life. So that will then in turn renew your sense of balance in your everyday life and work habits. Just when you have that piece of faith and hope that you can go on, you can go about your day in a more in a smoother way, to where you aren't plagued with these certain uncertainties, which kind of mess up your day, and you just, because if something's on your mind and you feel you don't trust in life, or something just doesn't feel right, or this is just, or you've given up, in a sense, like day-to-day reality can be a little rough, and it's constantly on your mind, and it creates pitfalls of sorts. So if you're able to kind of keep that faith and really get in touch with dispelling any fear around any uncertainties in your life right now, then your day-to-day is going to really step up, and you're going to be feeling in a good place and renewed in that sense, which in turn is going to lead to a turning point in your life of how you communicate with others, and how you use your ability to cooperate. Really, growth for you right now is centered around getting your mind on the right page, being able to communicate correctly and appropriately and timely, and cooperating, essentially. So Leos, just know that this is your final push until your birthday period of next month, when you're going to feel in a much stronger position than you might during this Cancer territory. All right, Virgo and Virgo rising. What does this Cancer season have in store for you? Well, you're going to be working on your emotions surrounding how you relate with your group of friends and the public at large. You know, where do you place yourself, and do you really find that you emotionally belong there? Because you are very emotional around your friendships and the groups and organizations that you associate yourself with, because Cancer rules that 11th house of yours. So right now you could be really getting in touch with how you can emotionally connect more with your friends, or get yourself in that right group of people to really pursue your own goals, because this is an area of where you know, you see what it is that you want out of life and where you want to go and the things that you want to strive for. So your mind is, and mostly your emotions, but your mind too, because Mercury is going to be hanging out right there in Cancer, is going to be wrapping itself around where it actually belongs, and where you want to participate, and with who you want to do it with. Which in turn is going to lead you to a new sense of joy and creativity in your life. You're going to feel this renewed sense of being, you know, a part of a greater whole, and really just enjoying life by connecting with these other people and finding where it is you belong. It's just going to spark that joy and creativity, and you're going to feel in a great place. Which in turn is going to lead you to value yourself more and find more self-worth around what it is you have to offer, and the talents that you have, and to really cultivate more abundance into your life through that worth. So just know that if you find where it is that you emotionally belong and you get aligned with that, it's going to bring you more joy, and in turn you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel like you have more worth, you have more value, and it's just going to be a better spiritual abundance, and hopefully also a financial abundance with Jupiter there in Libra. So I'll cross my fingers for you Virgos that a little cash flow is coming your way. All right, Libra and Libra risings. What does this Cancer season have in store for you? Well, the Libras are going to be working around your emotional foundation of how you put yourself out there in the world, and your career and your legacy, and what it is that you feel that you're known for. And maybe even parenting issues, because a lot of times that falls into this house as well. So just know that you're going to have some emotions come up around your career and your overall direction, and what you plan to do in that arena. And you're going to be, once you really wrap yourself emotionally around your plan there, you're going to have more of a renewal in your home, and your foundation, your family life, and your own emotional self is going to feel on more solid ground, now that you have addressed these underlying issues regarding your career and your legacy, and your reputation, you know, and just gaining recognition in life, and what it is people see you for, and what you'd like to be known as. So just know, by getting in touch with that, you're going to renew your home and family and your own emotional foundation, which in turn is going to bring a turning point in your life to where you're going to feel more powerful. You're going to feel in charge. You're going to feel as if you're able to express yourself more, and get what it is, you know, that whatever it is that you're feeling, and off your chest, and especially in partnerships, because that, you know, Jupiter's ruling or moving through Libra right now. So you're getting a makeover on a couple different levels. So it's an interesting balance between getting a makeover, between relating with other people and then standing up for yourself too. So right now there's kind of that duality in a sense. But you will, I see growth for you, and really expressing yourself freely, as long as that is fair to other people, and standing in your own power, because right now Jupiter in its luck is really shining on you, Libra. Use it. All right, Scorpio and Scorpio risings. What does this Cancer season have in store for you? Well, the Scorpios are really going to get in touch with their emotions surrounding their own dreams and ideals, and this big picture they have for their lives. And it's really calling us to really get in touch with those ideals, because sometimes we're emotionally charged by an ideal of something that just really isn't going to pan out. Or it's not that even that it's going to not pan out. It's just, it might turn out a little differently than we expected. So we're getting in touch with expectations of sorts, and, you know, where we can get just a better understanding of our own lives and what's kind of what's real, but still be able to dream at the same time. And in turn, that's going to renew your sense of balance in how you communicate, and how your mind works. You know, is your mind working for you, or is it working against you? And so these are the two kind of polarities that this Cancer season is going to bring up, is how well we understand our own motivations, and our dreams and our ideals, and if our mind's on board with that, you know, like or if we're able to communicate what it is that we see out there in the world to others, so that we are seen clearly. So that said, the turning point here for Scorpios is really going to be on your own faith, and dispelling any uncertainty and fear you might have at this time, because Jupiter is there, and luckily that is it's a beneficial thing, to where we might have this uncertainty and fear and this lack of faith come up, and it might feel really strong because Jupiter really just amps up whatever it is that it's touching. But at the same time, it can bring gifts and give luck in that area. So this is a very fertile time for Scorpios to just, you know, let go of certain things. Let go of the fear of not knowing. Let go of certain ideals that you might know no longer work, and your mind has to rework itself around that. But the thing here is you got to keep dreaming, regardless of uncertainty and regardless of what your mind thinks. You know, in some areas you have to let go, and in other areas you got to keep dreaming. You can't give up because you just don't know. You got to pursue. And that is what Scorpios are really doing with Jupiter in Libra, is really building that faith to persevere. Yeah, so I'm Scorpio rising, so I feel you, Scorpios. I'm with you 100%. All right, Sag and Sag rising. Okay, so what does this Cancer season bring for you? Well, the Sagittarius are going to be working on their emotions surrounding how they relate to others, you know, intimately. Like, how vulnerable do you allow yourself to be with another person? And mostly, how well do you receive? How well can you take what is given to you? And to really align with other people, to share resources. Because that's really what your emotions are going to be tied around, is, you know, where if someone's trying to give you something, you know, don't look the gift horse in the mouth. You know, take it. Be thankful. Take it. And know that that's a gift not only from them, but a gift from the universe. So you really just kind of got to open up a little bit more at this time, you Sages, you know, like, just open up. It's okay to be vulnerable, and to explore your emotions around intimacy, which in turn is going to renew your balance with how you view yourself and your own self-worth and your talents, and how you can draw abundance in your life is going to be changed based on how well you're able to receive and to share resources with others. So just know it's kind of one and the same thing. So you're going to take in more, and you're going to be abundant that way, and you're just going to have a stronger confidence in yourself by opening up and feeling more vulnerable and a little more open to intimate moments with other people, to where you can be real, essentially. Which is going to lead to a turning point in your life having to do with your goals and where you belong in society, and what you see for yourself, and what you picture down the road happening for you, and where your friends are. You know, your friends can really help you out at this time, and really setting goals right now can really help you out, and get you to where you need to be, because that's where the growth is. You know, the growth is going to be in who you align yourself with, in a bigger picture. So yeah, Sagittarius, you know, like, just let down that shield, let down that guard a little. Don't try to run away. Don't go anywhere. It's time to open up and receive from others. All right, Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Well, what does this Cancer season have in store for you? Well, the Capricorns, you know, Cancer is your natural sign of partnership. So you are entering the watery zone of partnership when the sun moves into Cancer. So you're going to be working on emotions relating to how you relate to others and how, you know, how your partnerships are in love, in friendship, in business, with your enemies. You know, you're going to be really feeling really emotional in your partnerships right now, and how you're able to relate, and a little subjective in that area. So just know that working on this partnership issue for the month is going to bring you a renewed sense of being able to, you know, step into your own power and to express yourself more freely. And maybe not so freely, because, you know, you've had Pluto in your first house for quite some time now, and it's going to be there for a lot of time. So Capricorns are getting makeover after makeover after makeover after makeover in every area of their life. And anytime any planet gets that shot to Capricorn, and here we have that sun coming in to oppose it. So just know that you're being called upon to really renew how you relate yourself to others, and how you carry yourself in that manner, which is going to lead you to a turning point in your career and legacy, and your reputation is going to get a boost right now. And you know, stepping into your own power and doing so in a fair manner, and being able to relate with people easier, and have more awareness into how you relate on a fair level, you're really going to get a boost in that career. So just know that growth for you right now lies out there in the public, and what you're going to be seen for, and where you're going to be gaining recognition. All things Capricorns really love. So it's time to shine, and it's time to not only shine, but maybe do that with someone else and be on the same page. So yeah. All right, Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Where is this Cancer season lighting up emotions for you? Well, for the Aquas, you're going to be working on your emotions surrounding how you go about your daily life and your habits, and, you know, your health, because your health is ruled by Cancer, which is the moon, so it can kind of come and go. Like there's sometimes your health, and especially if you're feeling a little emotionally unstable, can go back and forth. Like one day you might be feeling great, and the next day you feel like crap, you know. And a lot of times your sicknesses are charged from more of a more emotional area than anything that's really wrong. I mean, there could be something wrong, of course, but a lot of times it can be triggered from emotions. So just know that you're going to be working on your daily life and your habits, and how you can really let go of certain emotional habits that you might have that are no longer serving you. And in turn, it's going to renew your sense of balance, and your ability to believe and trust life more, and let go of old fears that might be holding you back. And you just really renew your faith in life and where it's headed, because you're really rooting out old things that no longer work for you, and gaining a sense of faith from that. And in turn, it's going to lead to a turning point in your overall big picture and your understanding of life, like how you see things. You know, that hawk's eye view of your life when you're looking down is really going to gain from that ability to rework your daily life and your habits, and really gain faith and hope, and dispel fear of uncertainty in areas that you aren't quite sure about. So yes, you're going to be growing in that big picture view. You're really going to see where your life's headed. You're going to get in touch with what dreams you have, and to really keep the faith for those dreams, so that you're able to carry your ideals forward, and carry your ideals forward that have a sense of reality. But if something's a little out there and you're getting in touch with it, you're like, it might not work anymore, it's time to let those be left behind. So you're just really gaining a bigger picture on where it is you're growing, and changing your day-to-day life, because it's time for you to rethink and rework and really get a new emotional understanding of what your day-to-day reality is and how you can make that stronger and a more stronger foundation for you to work upon. All right, Pisces and Pisces rising. What does this Cancer season have in store for you? Well, you're going to be working on your emotions surrounding how you find joy in life and your own creative process, and how you relate to children, and just overall a lighter side of life. And your love life can light up at this time. Like, you might find a new emotional brewing in a love for someone, or a love for something, or a love for your children, or just, you know, where you find joy, a love for a project, just a love for something. You know, you're gonna be really feeling those love vibes, and your heart's going to be emotionally tied to how you can really get in touch with your own joy. Which is going to bring you a renewed sense of balance in where you belong, in your network of support, and your overall goals in life. Because this is the perfect time to really get your heart wrapped around, you know, where it is you want to go, and be grateful for those that support you, and really put yourself where you need to be, so that you can get that support that you need at this time, because you have some creative processes that are brewing, and they need to be supported by other people to help see that as a fruition in your life. So in turn, that's going to really mark a turning point in your life, with your ability to receive and find people who are willing to support your journey. Because Pisces is another sign, just like Cancer, that watery energy that just loves to give. And especially Pisces. Pisces can end up on you know, underneath that doormat that everybody's walking on, because they're giving and giving and giving, and people are taking and not giving anything back. So this is the time for you to see growth in your life on your ability to find support and find people that are willing to give to you, and you in turn allowing yourself to open up and to receive. You know, like, let yourself receive, Pisces. It's okay. You don't have to, like, you know, like, sometimes Pisces thinks like money's evil, or I don't need that, or I don't want to have, you know, take the money. Or to the help, or someone, you might think someone's being put out by helping you. No, take the help. Just know that at this time, you're really going to grow by other people's resources coming your way, and you being able to accept them with joy in your heart, and really, so you can get yourself out there in the world and make all your goals, all that stuff that you've been getting down and really pushing towards. This is going to be a good month to see new growth in that area, especially with support from others. All right, everybody, let's see what the tarot has to say now that we're in this Cancer season. All right, so the tarot has given us the Two of Cups and the Sun of Swords. Interesting combination, but I have to say I think it really works. And I find it very interesting that the Sun of Swords keeps coming up in a lot of my videos that I do. And it seems like something we're really working on, especially with this Jupiter and Libra energy. So the Two of Cups as being our focus, you know, it's a time of relating and being able to emotionally share ourselves with other people. As the old adage goes, you know, it's summer love, you know, like people are feeling frisky. So with that Two of Cups there, and this reading is for the whole Cancer cycle. This is for the Cancer season of our 30 days in this solstice cycle. And we're really going to be focusing on partnership and, you know, sharing our emotions with others, and just a heartfelt connection. Like, how can we get in touch with our heart more so that we're able to share that clearly with someone else, because here we have the Sun of Swords coming in as our grounding card, which is kind of a forceful energy. It's determined. Its mind is determined. How I see that is sometimes that can get in the way of sharing that emotion and that heartfelt connection with other people. We kind of lose sight of the heart part, and you know, the emotion's still there, and we might get revved up on feeling frustrated in a sense, because this is also a card of frustration. So there could be some frustration around romance and being able to relate to other people and sharing your emotions and being able to do that in a clear manner. So you just gonna have to get really clever about how it is that you relate. Like maybe just don't go in, you know, swords ablazing, like ready to take down this very sensitive issue, which when you're dealing with another person and emotions and partnership, it's sensitive. So there has to be, you gotta get a little clever around how it is you're going to relate to another, so that you can do that sensitively. So chances are we're going to be working on issues of how we communicate, and that really ties in with that whole Jupiter in Libra, and what is fair and how we relate, and to be very clear on how it is that we relate, and just, and that's what swords represent, to be real about it. So just know that even if you're frustrated at this time with sharing yourself emotionally or getting that connection going, you're also very determined to be able to make that happen. So we're not going to give up on our ability to relate to other people and to be a good partner. So that being said, this would also be a time, since we're talking about summer love, where if you're just getting a new partner and you're feeling really emotionally connected and you're just sharing those cups back and forth, you might, you know, get a little impulsive and get out there and make a proposal, even though you don't know each other that well. So there's a chance for that. Just be aware that that could come up. So you might want to take your time. Just be a little patient with relationships right now, because, you know, this is a very emotional time and emotions can change. So if not to take away from anybody who's feeling the love out there and wants to, you know, settle down, you know, because it's another Cancer thing, getting those roots down. But just be sure that you know what you're getting yourself into if you're going out there and giving a proposal or making plans for something that is really in the infant stage of being born. And another part that has to do with these two cards together is really, how can we fight less and connect more? You know, if you're in a relationship or you're dealing with a friend or a business partner or someone outside of you to where you just seem to be fighting a lot, how can we relate? How can we get on the emotional same page, and find unity together, and to stop all the, you know, the squabbles over probably insignificant things. So we're really focusing on how can we relate? How can we share our hearts with others? How can we do that in a not so frustrated manner? You know, if anybody's wanting to write a romance novel, get out there. This is the time to do it, because it'll be a highly creative time for that writing, and it's also a great time for creative partnerships. Here we have that those two swords are working together to highlight our creative partnerships, and to share actively with each other. In that realm too. So there's lots of facets to these two cards together. So you pick what one might work for you, but just know that it really centers around how we can share ourselves with others and how we can make that heartfelt connection. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Energetic Principles. I'm so happy that you're able to stop by and take a watch. And if you like what you see, I would love it if you could share it with someone else, because your enthusiasm for what it is I do is the best way to repay me and share the good word. That being said, if you want to connect with me more, because these are all generalizations to the best of my ability. I don't know your chart, but if I do, I can tell you a lot more about yourself. So if you would like to connect with me and see what's coming up for you, you can find me at energeticprinciples.com. I'm also on Instagram at Energetic Principles, where I do daily IG advice for where the planets are and draw fun little pictures for that. And I'm also on, every Monday, we release a podcast, myself and Shauna McGrath of Neo-Feminine Astrology. And our podcast is called The Feminine Principle, Astrology for Authentic Living. And that is a weekly podcast just so you can see what's going on for the week as far as the stars and planets are saying. So if you would like to find out more about any of that stuff, I encourage you to check out those resources. So happy solstice to everyone. I'm so grateful that the Cancer season has arrived. And although getting in touch with your emotions can be trying for some, in the end it'll be very rewarding and we'll have a more solid foundation from it. So until next time, as always, may the stars be with you.